Hello Curious and welcome back. In today's episode, we are going to talk about a royal who, after Meghan and Harry have left their position as senior members, has gained prominence. We are of course talking about Queen Elizabeth's alleged favourite daughter-in-law and why she is supposedly the monarch's favourite. We are going to look at absolutely everything surrounding Sophie, the Countess of Wessex, all the dirty laundry and speculations surrounding this royal figure. Is her marriage to Prince Edward really a fairy tale? Did Sophie and Lady Di have a sister-in-law feud? Is it just like what's going on between Kate Middleton and Meghan Markle? If we have your attention with regards to this member of the royal family, then make sure you stick around to the very end as we have many interesting information about her. But before we continue, don't forget to turn on the notifications and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our future videos. But first things first, in 1999, Buckingham Palace had announced the engagement of Prince Edward, the youngest of Queen Elizabeth's 4 children, and onlookers around the world expected his fiancée, Sophie Rhys-Jones, to emerge from Windsor Castle Church as a duchess. But it was not to be, and it is how, on June 19, 1999, Sophie made history as the only daughter-in-law of the monarch who did not occupy that position in the monarchy. The title of Wessex had been around since the 11th century, although Elizabeth II gave it a new use, and thus, since then, Edward and Sophie were known as the Earl and Countess of Wessex. Prince Edward's wife was a relative of Thane Bettany, who was her godfather. He was a British actor whose father married for the second time and to Sophia's paternal grandmother. Thane was also the father of the actor Paul Bettany, known for such movies as A Beautiful Mind, The Da Vinci Code, and to mention one of the more famous ones, The Young Victoria, a film which was produced by Sophie's former sister-in-law, Sarah Ferguson. The movie was about the teenage life and youth of the great-great-grandmother of Queen Elizabeth II. But for now, let's take a closer look at what Sophie does. Though in a nutshell, that can be simply said that she is a dedicated full-time to representing Queen Elizabeth. Duchess or not, the Countess has the absolute confidence and clear favouritism of the monarch, but more on that in a moment, and we will explain why. After Meghan Markle and Prince Harry had left the royal family and moved to the USA, the Countess of Wessex has gained relevance in the agenda of the British royal family, and in 2020 she fulfilled up to 154 public engagements, a number that is higher than that of Prince William, which placed her in the 3rd place among the Windsors with the most public events. Buckingham Palace sources assured the Times that when the Duke of Edinburgh passes away, his title will pass to Prince Edward, so Sophie would become Duchess of Edinburgh. Though now that Prince Philip has passed away, the insider had reported that the title might actually go to his older brother, Prince Charles, though nothing is certain at the moment. And speaking of the Duke, we have a video in which we look back at his life over the years, and you can watch it by clicking on the link above. But returning to the topic of public events, Prince Edward fulfilled 463 engagements in 2018, more than the sum of those fulfilled by both William and Harry. But nevertheless, the Wessexes did not receive as much publicity as the other members of the royal family, who are ahead in terms of succession to the throne. For this reason, some royal experts point out that they would have to have a more active presence on social media for their achievements to receive the publicity and acceptance they deserve. However, lately it seems that the British media is finally paying more attention to Sophie, who was put as a bridge to try an rapprochement between Meghan Markle and the Queen, according to several media outlets, and all this during the time that Meghan's popularity began to decline. Allegedly, within the family she is considered as a great example of how to manage a crisis, but curious, not everything is rosy, and we say this because Sophie herself has been involved in a scandal, and for a much more serious matter than just some speculations about having some bad blood between herself and the royal. This scandal was an example of how tabloid journalists had tricked her into an interview, so stay with us until the very end to find out more. But, well, what about her and Edward's relationship and how it looked compared to the scandalous divorces of Prince Charles, Prince Andrew and also Princess Anne? It could be seen that the royal family was not going to risk another insult to their name, and so the couple had dated each other for over 6 years, compared to the 6 months of Charles and Lady Diana, as well as a year of Andrew and Sarah Ferguson. In that case, it was necessary that the relationship had a solid foundation to think about the next step, and as always, speculations around the Windsor family arose. It was even said that Prince Edward was gay. Since then, and up until now, she has become the favourite of Queen Elizabeth, not only because of her discretion, but also because she has worked to be so. Even now, she is part of 70 organisations besides sharing hobbies with Queen Elizabeth such as military history or horse riding. The two have even ridden around Windsor Castle grounds together. Let us now tell you some more information about the wife of Prince Edward. Sophie Helen Rhys-Jones was born in Oxford in 1965 as the only child of retired salesman Christopher Bournes and secretary Mary Rhys-Jones, who passed away in 2005. She spent most of her life in Kent and studied at a local girls' school before training as a public relations professional and starting her working life. It was during a charity event that she met the Earl of Wessex. When they had begun dating, Edward had asked the media not to interfere in their courtship. In 1996, Sophie founded her own public relations agency and planned to continue with it even after her wedding. And it seems that so far there were not so many controversies surrounding them. But now let us tell you that the scandal in which she was part of was not just rumours or gossip. No, there was proof and evidence. It all happened when Maza Mahmoud, a journalist for News of the World, pretended to be a sheikh who wanted to work with her agency, and during their meeting recorded the Countess. On those recordings, she spoke not too well of the British royal family, which included the Queen, Charles, Camilla, and even the then Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Tony Blair. But it seemed that she had learned her lesson after such a sensitive and public scandal, as she stopped working in 2002 and dedicated herself only to the work relating to the royal household and to the care of her children, Lady Louise and James Viscount of Severn. Now Sophie has won the public opinion thanks to her hard work and perseverance, and the story serves as a message that nobody is perfect and that despite everything you can always straighten the record and make things right. As we said, she focused on a new task, which was building a family. She had suffered a lot of pregnancy losses and had even thought that she was unable to have children, but then she became pregnant with Lady Louise Windsor. Her arrival into the world in November 2003 was hasty and very complicated. So much that there were even fears for the lives of both mother and daughter. It was so bad that the Queen had skipped one of her traditions and went to the hospital to visit them, while Prince Edward was hurrying to return from an official trip to Mauritius. After that traumatic birth, she tried again, and in December 2007, her son, James Viscount Severn, was born. And since we are in the section of airing dirty laundry, let us tell you that Sophie had also starred in her own version of the Markle-Middleton feud in the days that Lady Di was married to Prince Charles, and it was also very much similar to the tension between Kate Middleton and Meghan Markle. The story begins on November 8, 1993, when the Countess was still dating Prince Edward, and after meeting Sophie at lunch, Elizabeth II told the Queen Mother that she was a very discreet girl, invisible in a crowd. The Queen Mother could not contain her desire to meet the girl in question and organised another breakfast for her to meet their entire Windsor family. Diana arrived in the room where all the women were gathered, with William and Harry, since she shared custody over them after separating from Charles. It was then when, according to the words of Princess Margaret herself, Lady Di made a snub at Sophie. Lady Di, as a good fashion lover, made a comment about Sophie's skirt, saying that for a Marks & Spencer skirt it wasn't bad. Although, according to the mocking tone she said it in, that for the salary she was getting the item of clothing was too expensive for her. She then bluntly asked her also about the exact figures of her salary, and what her father did for a living, and so on. To which Sophie answered politely and then asked Queen Elizabeth's permission to leave. According to reports, both the Queen and her sister approached Lady Di afterwards, and she had called Andrew Morton to tell him everything, and he assured her that there were only rumours, that Edward had serious intentions of getting engaged to Sophie. Allegedly, she said, "It's a carbon copy of me. You can tell that the monarchy is looking for someone to replace me." And more curious, here at this point only Lady Di knows the extent to which she felt the royal family was breaking her to make these comments. But she must have had the prophetic words, right? Since after Meghan and Harry left the royal family, Sophie of Wessex is the perfect person to take over the responsibilities that belong to the Sussexes, an idea that does not seem to displease Prince Edward and Sophie for being in high-profile events with Prince William and Kate at a recent business meeting in Africa. Even the media have said that she is full of energy, and with this last seems to have the acceptance of the local press. As we said before, she is the favourite of Queen Elizabeth for her low profile. Plus, she is good at interacting with people. Before the pandemic, she was even seen very often with the Queen on Sundays to attend Mass. Plus, they live very close to each other. She is definitely one of the women of the Queen's children who has definitely given fewer problems to the royals. Another reason why even the media say she is a friend and confidant of the Queen, even more so according to reports following the passing of her husband. One more reason to be the perfect replacement for the Sussexes. In interviews, she also said that her children adore their grandparents, Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip. Sophie's position in a more central role will likely be a part of the firm's strategy to ensure her relevance to the next generation. Behind the scenes, a considerable amount of time and money has been invested in Harry's professional role as prince and his family, and now that plans have changed, it is imperative that they show their adaptability. The fact that Sophie is being heralded as a new generation style icon can only help observant fans of royal fashion whose hours of detailed observation of princess images is only a bonus. So curious. It seems the Wessexes love the idea of taking on a bit more relevance. Do you think Princess Diana was right? Do you like the Wessexes as the replacement for Meghan and Harry? Do you think Sophie of Wessex will take advantage of her position? Is she really perfect? Tell us your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel. Until next time.